thanks for having us in. Authorities want to remind the public that the entire state remains under a wind chill warning from today until tomorrow. And if you must go outside, wear layers and know the warning signs of frostbite and hypothermia. It's frigid out there. We have some areas, though, that aren't below zero. Right, Adam?
That is absolutely right. A couple of areas trying to creep above zero, but it's not going to be by much. We did get a couple of updates to the wind chill headlines that we've been talking about for a while just at the top of the hour, so let's get right to that. A couple of wind chill warnings remain in place until noon tomorrow. That includes areas like Kingsbury County. Beadle County, yours now expires at 2 p.m. today, but the farther south and east you go towards Sioux Falls, Yankton, Harrisburg, that is still until noon on Tuesday. Now, some wind chill warnings have been allowed to be downgraded to a wind chill advisory from Brown County down into Spink County, then over toward the Pier area as well, but those expire at noon on Tuesday. For everybody else, West River, still wind chill warnings in place, but this is going to begin until 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So we're not quite done with this yet, but we're starting to make some progress, and some positive progress at that. Just remember that as we go through what we're seeing right now. 7 degrees below zero in downtown Sioux Falls with a west wind at 17 miles per hour. At least it's a sunny day. So we have that working in our favor. It could be cloudy, it could be snowing. We have neither of that happening right now. Meanwhile, in Aberdeen, it is also a rather cold afternoon up that way in Brown County. They're at 6 degrees below zero, but at least they don't have much of a wind to speak of right now. So, again, a little bit of progress. We are trying to get above zero out west. We are close in Rapid City, 2 degrees below zero. I think we will get a couple of pockets of locations that will get above zero today, just not by much. Tomorrow, though, will be a different story. But there are those air temperatures. Then you factor in the wind. It is still very blustery out there, 15 to 25 miles per hour in many locations. That would explain why Aberdeen wasn't showing much of a wind speed. It's because their anemometer is offline. But we will assume now that they do at least have some kind of a wind chill in place, considering everybody else does. Feels like it's minus 30 here in Sioux Falls, minus 38 for Faith, Spearfish, and Buffalo, minus 39 in Phillip, minus 35 for Winter, minus 34 in Watertown. So we are not done with this yet. We do eventually get done with this sooner rather than later. The one thing working in our favor is the fact that high pressure is going to continue to build in. It's going to be a process, though, so breezy conditions will be in place for the rest of the day and even into Tuesday as well. But as we head later into the week, the wind does start to back off a little bit, and we have temperatures above zero on both sides of the river to talk about. Dare we say above average weather even beyond the 7-day forecast. Something to think about. We'll talk about that in a little bit coming up.
All right, thank you, Adam. Recent weather warnings are causing some schools to cancel or delay classes for tomorrow. You can see a full list, as always, of closings and delays on KELOLAND.com, also scrolling at the bottom of your screen here. Meanwhile, you can keep track of our changing weather conditions by downloading our handy KELOLAND Storm Tracker app. You can find our live Doppler radar, as well as get views of conditions across the state with our live cam network. And if you capture pictures or video of any storm or weather happening where you live, send it over to ushare@KELOLAND.com or tag us on social media. Hundreds of people donate blood each week through Community Blood Bank, and no two people give for the same reason. McKaylee Kuhn is a junior at Brandon Valley High School and donated blood for the first time in October.
I'd never done it before, so I was like, let's give it a shot. And I knew, like, people needed blood, so that's why.
She didn't have to sign up, and she didn't have to bring that form home for me to sign, and she did, so I was proud of her for doing that.
Giving blood is also McKaylee's way of paying it forward. 17 years ago, she was born more than 3 months early, weighing 1 pound 5 ounces, and required multiple blood transfusions. We'll share her story in tonight's Eye on KELOLAND at 10. Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This morning, an outdoor remembrance of MLK in Sioux Falls included singing, stories, and a special proclamation had to be moved online due to sub-zero temps.
It was a little disappointing because originally we were supposed to be standing at the statue, and then that moved to being inside the city center, and now we're online. But as long as we still get to have the event and still get to celebrate, I think, it's still a win.
The virtual event did include a proclamation from Sioux Falls Mayor Paul Tenhaken and guest speakers from the South Dakota African American History Museum and Roosevelt High School. We'll hear from the president of the Sioux Falls NAACP about King's legacy tonight on KELOLAND News. Campaign 2024 moves into high gear today with the Iowa caucuses, the first chance for Republican voters to weigh in on who they want to face President Joe Biden in the general election. But as Charlie DeMar reports from Des Moines, weather may factor into turnout.
Voters across Iowa will be facing brutal sub-zero temperatures as they head out to caucus tonight.
And the cold, I mean, you just dress warm, and that's not a big deal to me.
This is Iowa. If you don't like the weather, stick around. It'll change in 10 minutes.
The latest Des Moines Register poll suggests many Iowa Republicans will be choosing former President Donald Trump. He has an overwhelming lead over former Ambassador Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who spoke to CBS's Tony DeCopel this morning.
You know, when people take a poll, they can push someone one way or other, but there's a lot of people that still haven't made up a final decision.
Of course, polls can be wrong, and no one knows that better than Donald Trump, who surprised many political analysts with his presidential win in 2016.
On Sunday, Trump took nothing for granted, urging voters to get out no matter how low the temperatures go.
So brave the weather and go out and save America, because that's what you're doing.
Haley is determined to keep fighting no matter what the polls say.
But we're going to keep on going anywhere and everywhere. We're going to go all the way until the last hour.
President Biden will be watching developments very closely. A new CBS News poll finds Trump's support among national Republican primary voters has risen to its highest level yet, even as Haley leads President Biden by a wider margin. But voters in Iowa and across the nation may have much more to say before the general election. Charlie DeMar, CBS News, Des Moines, Iowa.
Now, there are more than 1,600 individual caucuses held statewide. Only registered Republicans can participate. Newcomers are welcome, but must register with the GOP on site. Still ahead, a new country has a brand new yet booming market, whiskey. And it's been 100 days since the grisly start of the Israel-Hamas war, with hostages still waiting to be freed.
A cold afternoon on our hands in Huron as we take a look to the south. At least it's a sunny day, so it tricks our mind into maybe not having it seem like it's that cold. But then the wind reminds us we're not done yet. We'll talk about the rest of your forecast coming up.